In about a week or less, I imagine the world is going to be in a much different place. But on November 5th, the whole world will have eyes on the USA election, hoping for a favorable outcome. And look, if you ask me, I believe this is perhaps one of the most pivotal moments in human history, because the implications carry the weight of the potential ending of the church age. In simple terms, if the United States is taken out of the way, there is nothing stopping Satan and his globalist pawns from ushering in their global government. All the terror that comes with it. Now look, I'm no fool. I can't stop or change what is written within Scripture, but I'm certainly not one of these guys that sits back and says, well, it's all going to happen anyway. In fact, it's actually, that's the opposite of how I think. And I believe, just like a runner, look, the finish line is ahead of us. And I think we all need to be sprinting towards the finish line. In fact, I myself, in the interest of trying to, buy myself time to do more videos like this one and spread the gospel. Look, I've started a brand, if you can believe it, on Etsy, and I've been busting my hump trying to get this thing off the ground. Because if I don't need to be hands-on with all the current clients that I have, I can do more videos like this one on a much more regular basis. But look, something at the end of the day, something's got to keep the lights on. So look, please pray for me and that this thing, it takes off. Now, if you've been watching me for any length of time, chances are that you already know exactly which way I lean politically. And look, it's not something I feel the need to talk about in an open forum like this. But today is not that day. I can't do it. And I'm going to give you a very candid 2 cents on who I vote for and why. Now, let me preface this whole dialogue with a self-described word about me. Look, I'm rough around the edges and very difficult at times, and I am extremely opinionated and I do welcome, though, a healthy debate. However, I also have enough self-control and an odd ability to separate my emotions from me proving my opinion from a platform of logic and intuition. In other words, I don't just spew out word vomit just to be heard and then run away. Look, I'm telling you this because I may say a few things here that you will disagree with. It doesn't mean you click off or even unsubscribe for that matter. And of course, look, we live in a free country last time I checked. And so look, if that's your choice, you do have a choice to do it, so be it. But I'm old school, I'm unwavering, and look, I'm going to say exactly what I think. So here it is. If you want to have even a chance of this American experiment continuing, I urge you, vote for Donald Trump. Even if you had no intention of voting, you must go and vote. Why? Because the only thing, and you've heard me say this before, the only thing for evil to prevail is for good men and women, for that matter, to do nothing. Now, why do I endorse him? Well, look, there's many reasons, but mainly for one simple reason. He's a businessman who governed the country like a business. I will never say you have to like him, though. In fact, with several marriages and potential dirt uncovered about him, look, his personal track record is atrocious. But the presidential office should never be a popularity contest, but rather purely based on policy. Now, it's possible you can clap back and say, oh, well, Kamala has done a wonderful job. Has she? Well, look, let me just say that because I've been living in Australia now for the last 15 plus years, I do have a bit of an advantage from the outside looking in. And here's what I see. Millions of illegals have been not just allowed, but encouraged and welcomed by this Biden administration, given basically these welcome packs consisting of money and phones and a free plane ticket to go anywhere they want in the United States. Look, this is billions of taxpayer money wasted, all while legal citizens are struggling. becoming homeless, and perhaps it's possible that newly made drug addicts, this was all thanks to the fentanyl brought in by these illegals. This was going on for years, and now all of a sudden Kamala says she wants to change that? Really? Are you joking? Folks, do not be deceived. Let's look at her newly devised tax plan where she runs on the platform of taxing the rich. Don't you realize that politicians are pandering to people when they say this? The truth is, it's an old tactic. It plays on the mind of the weak. And if you're a middle or lower income, individual, chances are you might feel like it's the rich that has kept you down. So of course you feel the need to equal the playing field, which in turn is why so many liberals feel this need for equality or equity or whatever they're talking about. And look, they're giving handouts from the government. Well, folks, I hate to break it to you. You may have gotten a ribbon for 8th place when you were a child, but in the real world, 8th place is the 7th place loser. Now look, I'm not really calling anyone a loser. I'm specifically addressing complacency and mediocrity. And look, if you're doing your best in whatever it is and always trying to improve and grow, look, I applaud you. But rewards for being a warm body that just showed up, look, where's the honor? What is the honor in this? But getting back to Kamala's tax plan, I've read it. And my Cliff Notes explanation is to say it will wipe out the individual businessman and the small business and make the rich even richer. And let's face it, people who have money, they have wealth, they know very well how to use the tax laws to their advantage to keep their money, or they just leave the country. If you just do a 9 to 5, if that's you, look, I'm sorry to say, you're the one paying the most in taxes. Now, there's one last thing I must point out about this woman. She may seem funny and bubbly when the bumpers and the guardrails are put in place for her, but let's not forget one little hiccup. That all it takes is one little hiccup to derail her. Watch this.
Today we got 32 days until the election. So 32 days. 32 days. Okay, we got some business to do. All right. 32 days. And we know we will do it.
All it took was a tiny mishap of a teleprompter glitch. This should show you she's nothing but a puppet for whomever's behind her. So imagine her meeting by herself with someone like Vladimir Putin. What about Xi Jinping? Or how about Kim Jong-un? Do you really believe Kamala would be taken seriously by any of these leaders? Now look, I know in Matthew 24, Jesus said, you will hear of wars and rumors of war, but frankly speaking, I don't want to accelerate this. Look, the power vacuum under Joe Biden was bad enough. So can you not see how things could be under her? Now let's get to the heart of the matter about Donald Trump himself. Now, I'm aware that within these prophecy circles, some people have a lot of evidence pointing to the idea that Trump himself is a part of the deep state. Perhaps even more damning interviews by Whitney Webb regarding Trump and J.D. Vance. I will admit it's hard evidence to refute. Look, I'm going to give you that one. But I have been riding the fence on this because how I perceive Trump as a person. And frankly speaking, it's incongruent to the evidence presented. Now, mind you, I'm not talking about his word, but rather his actions. Within months of being president in 2016, 2017, do you recall he addressed the United Nations and basically thumbed his nose at globalism?
As President of the United States, I will always put America first. Just like you, as the leaders of your countries, will always and should always put your countries first.
How was the cost of goods and gasoline from 2017 to 2019? Did you have a job? Were you worried about war? Look, actions and the social economic climate, they're not enough. I get that. Go and listen to interviews of people that have worked directly with him. Perhaps the most fascinating interview was with Cliff Sims on the Shawn Ryan show. Now, look, it's long. It's a 3-hour podcast, but undoubtedly, this guy is sold out for Jesus, and he worked every day with Trump. You got to hear what he has to say about him. Other things I wrestle with are the now 3 assassination attempts. Look, they're fishy, and these have just gotten swept under the rug. Don't you even realize that this is not normal? And don't even try telling me that he was in on it. Look, this is by far the most ridiculous argument that I can't even humor it. I can't even humor a conversation with that. People want him dead because of what he brings to the table. The globalists, understand this, the globalists have their foot to the floor trying to usher in their satanic agenda. And Donald Trump is perhaps the only man, I did say man, that could derail them. I'll just leave it at this and say that if Trump is indeed a part of the deep state, the man deserves an Oscar, as this is by far the best show I've ever seen. But God. None of this is a surprise, and God is in complete control of what is going on here. Now, I don't doubt for some of you, this is yet another election where you feel you have to choose the lesser of two evils. I get it. But that doesn't mean lay down and just let it happen. Yes, God is in control, but the Bible is rife with stories how God required people to take up arms and fight against evil. Folks, this is your defining moment. And I'm telling you, I have a dream. I really have a dream. What if Trump truly became a born-again Christian and from the Oval Office, he was telling people publicly from there to repent? That would be incredible. And look, I actually think it's possible. But he's got to get in there, see? He's got to get there first. So that's it. Look, that's all I have to say on this. And as an addendum, touching on what I talked about in my last video, look, gold just hit another all-time high this week. I see a rocky road ahead of us no matter what happens. So look, my advice is this. Don't do anything like buy a brand new car or get yourself into any more debt. I know for a lot of us, we're looking for the rapture to take us away from the calamity that's coming, and it is coming. But I don't believe that's how we should live. And I referred back to the tail end of Matthew 24:6, which I cited before, where Jesus said, "See to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come." So how long is that? I don't know. But in the meantime, I'm just going to keep on working away with the faith that whatever I'm handed, God will get me through it. Not avoid it, but through. And of course, as always, I would appreciate that if you guys would like this video, that'd be great. Subscribe if you want to see more of this content. And that's it, folks. I hope to see you all next time.